Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Welcome back. I'm here today because I want to introduce you to the new Spellbinders kits of the month for November. I have the Die of the Month, Stamp of the Month, and Glimmer of the Month. I think it's the Clear Stamp of the Month. So let me go ahead and show you what we've got. And what's fun with this month's kits is that they all coordinate, so you can use them all together for all of your cards. And I think that's what I'm probably going to be doing today. I'm going to make a few different cards using all of the kits, and I have a feeling I'm going to be combining a lot of things. So the first one we've got is Around the Holidays. This is, I just love this. We've got snowflakes, we've got packages, we've got ornaments, and then we've got a lot of these little sentiments. And you notice that they are all curved. Part of the reason that they are curved is because they coordinate with the large Die of the Month set, which is this one here that has all these fun wavy curves, and they each cut out something a little bit different. This first one, which my nails cannot pick it up, so I use a magnet. This first one cuts out a border. So it's got a cutting edge on both sides, so this does cut this whole piece out, and then you can adhere it wherever you need to on your card. The second one just cuts this bottom layer, so that means on your cardstock, you'd basically have a full piece of cardstock, and then you'd have this as the edge, and then of course you could always put this on top or underneath or anything like that, because they all match. And then look at this. These stamps are perfect and perfectly line up with those curves. I just love this. So now we've got this other one, and by the way, this is just something that I picked up at Dollar Tree. So yeah, it was a $1 one. It's got a long handle, so when I inevitably drop my dies on my floor, I can pick them up fairly easily. This one cuts out all of these shapes and basically gives you like a window. So it would be cut out just in here. You've got solid on the top and solid on the bottom. And then this one, to me, I think it cuts out like 3 strips. I don't recall, but I'm going to be trying that out. Plus, we've got all our little fun pieces to go along with it. So that is the first set. Let me get these back on my sheet. And again, this is the Die of the Month, and it's called Christmas Foliage Strips and Borders. So you've got all these fun pieces to put on your cards and kind of dress them up. There we go. Now that will fit there. Then we have the Glimmer of the Month, and you know how I love my Glimmer sets. So this one is kind of the same thing. It's got a decorative border here, which if you look close, it's got holly and mistletoe. And then it's got this piece that coordinates with this other one. They both look pretty much the same, as does these two. They kind of look the same. So we've got all that, and you've got a couple of little glimmer sentiments to go along with it. So I'm going to be playing with all of this fun stuff. Not sure what I'm going to do, but my plan is to take out some pattern paper and some of my scraps and get busy putting together some cards. I really have got way too many paper packs, so I'm going to try to use up some of those on my cards today, and I'm going to be using all of these fun pieces and maybe a couple of stamps or dies from one of the previous collections. I don't know. So we will see, and let's get started. So all of the dies in this Die of the Month set are basically slimline size, so I decided to cut down a piece of pattern paper that's going to be about a mini slimline, and then I am cutting out that gorgeous border die. I absolutely love all of those little intricate flowers and stems and stuff, and I'm going ahead and cutting out a bunch of those. Then I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do with those little panels that I've got of the paper, the pattern paper. This is an ornament style. I think that is so cute, and I'm going to go ahead and add those florals down at the bottom of one of those panels. Now, when I was cutting it, I probably should have cut it the opposite direction because, of course, this is upside down. I'm still going to try to use everything, though, that I'm cutting out, and if I don't use it today, I've got some pieces to go ahead and start on with going forward. So I let that dry a little bit because it did need a little bit of time, and I adhered another one of those pieces onto another panel and tried to figure out how to cover the edge. Turns out none of these match up on the edge. So it's not, I guess the curves don't match up if you try to line them up together. But this panel was wide enough, so I'm going ahead and I'm cutting it down to regular card size, so it's about 5.5. Next, I'm grabbing out some red and green cardstock from my stash that's going to pretty much match the colors that are on that pattern paper. And I'm going to cut out some of those little branches and some of the little poinsettias and all that came with this same kit too. Basically using all of the little embellishment pieces. And I'm going to cut out a bunch of pieces for me to decorate the front of my card. For the greenery, I decided I would attempt to add a little bit of extra color and dimension to those by leaving them in the actual cardstock, taking the dies off, and just going over them a little bit with some green ink. Not sure that it really made much of a difference, but I probably could have done a lot more if I had, I don't know, taken more time, but I wanted to get all these cards done. And I've got a lot of little pieces still left to die cut. Now that I've got all those extra bits on there, and I kind of know how I want this card to be pretty much put together, I'm marking a little line around where the edge of that top panel is going to be onto just a regular card base. And next I'm adding a sentiment from the Merry collection. It's the stamp set Home for Christmas Sentiments, and I'm using the one that says, "Family and friends are the true great gifts of Christmas." So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on the front of the card panel using some Catherine Pooler Cranberry Fizz ink. Since this is a pigment ink, I'm able to heat emboss over it. I'm putting on some Wow Clear embossing powder, and that's going to give the illusion that I'm actually embossing in red. You're probably wondering about those little marks that I put on the card before doing this stamping. Well, I decided I wanted to add a little bit of light ink behind basically behind all of that die cut. So I drew a little line using that die as a template, and then I erased it. I just need to be able to see where it is, so it's still there a little bit, but it's not going to be visible behind anything. Now I'm just adding a little bit of rustic wilderness distress ink to go behind those white florals, so that they're going to still be able to be, it's still going to make them pop a little bit against that white background. I'm using some art glitter glue to adhere this panel and all those little floral embellishment pieces that are in white on the front. I'll go ahead and adhering that down onto my card base. And then I get to do the fun stuff and add all those cute little pieces that I already die cut out. The poinsettias, the little boughs, put all of those in place on the front of my card to just give it that little bit of extra that's going to make this card pop. Then, of course, I grabbed out my little gems. You know me, I love these little crystal gems. So I'm adding a bunch to the front of this card. I decided that that little strip, that wave that holds all of my florals, I decided to put a line of those little gems all the way across the card and then add a few more on the card as well. So this is going to finish up the first card. I was planning on trying to get all three into one video, but it would be way too long. So this is going to be the first card out of the Club Kits of the Month from Spellbinders for the month of November. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope my card inspires you to create some awesome projects, and I would love to see what you create. So come join us in my Facebook group, Crafting with Debbie, and show us your creations. There's a link in the description box below. Here are some other videos that I know you'll enjoy. Thanks again, and remember, if I can make it, you can too.